2017 legislative session took some very unexpected twists and turns this week as deal-making surrounding the state budget and an unprecedented level of activity in the back rooms of the Tallahassee Tower of Terror brought many critical issues that we thought were handled back to the forefront. For years, legislators have had their eyes on the state group health insurance program and the Florida retirement system, looking to shave off dollars for tax cuts and turn billions over to Wall Street investment firms. On Monday, two bills we have beaten back year after year and which had not been heard all session in the Senate were put on the agenda in the Senate Governmental Oversight and Accountability Committee. These bills threaten the health and retirement security of our state's public servants.
There's something I'd like to give you if you don't mind.
No, what is that?
After passing the House last week, senators voted on HB 7007 in committee on Monday. Supporters of the bill continue to claim their intentions are to provide more choices for employees, when in reality, this legislation marks a huge cost shift from the state onto our public servants.
We have looked at all different variations of how this would be put into effect, and at the end of each variation, what we find is that this legislation represents a cost shift from the state to the employees in terms of health insurance.
Later in the same committee meeting was SB 7030, a newly filed bill that risks the retirement security of the nearly 1 million members of the Florida retirement system by forcing new hires into the riskier 401k style plan.
The field investigators in your sector have classified you as obsolete.
Working family advocates urge legislators to vote down this unnecessary and risky change.
This change, defaulting them into the investment plan, takes all of the risk and places it on the retiree, who can lose everything within 6 months of retirement. Also, most state employees don't make enough money to adequately fund a 401k. They don't have enough money to put into it to ever really be able to retire. This default change is a poison pill that is bad for everyone.
Both of these bad bills sailed through committee. At the time, their future path was unknown, as their introduction was outside the normal rules of procedure. Now we know that they will be heard one more time next week as part of the budget process. On Wednesday, the Florida House voted on a bill that would make the searches for university and college presidents secret until only a few days before a decision is made. As some of the most powerful and highest paid taxpayer-funded positions in the state, legislators urge to keep these searches transparent and open to the public.
This is the public's business. These people are going to be paid with public dollars. We have a sunshine law in this state, and we need to respect it. The public has a right to know.
The bill passed the full House, but with 1 week of session left, it has a difficult chance to pass the Senate before session ends. At the end of the week, the Florida House voted on HB 697 by Representative Metz, a draconian piece of legislation targeting undocumented workers in our state. This sweeping piece of legislation would fine local governments up to $5,000 a day if they refuse to deputize local officials, public workers, and officers to comply with federal immigration enforcement requests. In a heated debate that lasted over an hour on the floor, opposition to this bill expressed a harsh dissent.
What is an ICE detainer request? It is just that. It is a request. It is not the law. This bill is not about following the law. An ICE detainer request is a request from the federal government. The United States Supreme Court said, and I quote, "Once an alien enters the country, the legal circumstance changes. For the Due Process Clause applies to all persons within the United States. No person is illegal." I'm offended by that type of terminology.
I don't think we were elected to force cities and local governments, local elected officials, to round up people they suspect to be quote-unquote illegal immigrants under the threat of losing their positions. This is unconstitutional. No matter where you stand on immigration itself, this is overreach, and the courts will weigh in on this. This is a sad day in the Florida House.
Zero protections for children that fall under this bill. None. So yes, children will be affected by this bill. Families will be affected by this bill.
The bill passed the Florida House on a party line vote. But with 1 week of session left, legislators will have to waive the rules to give this bill a chance at passing the Senate chamber. Later on Friday, senators voted on HB 599, the bill that would eliminate local living wage laws and prohibit local governments from passing worker-friendly ordinances in their communities on public works projects.
What is this, some kind of a joke or something?
After passing the Florida House, the Senate brought up HB 599 for a full vote and debate. Legislators spoke out in opposition to this attack on local control that would result in a pay cut for thousands of workers across the state.
Existing local ordinances that have to do with minority contracting, small business contracting, living wage ordinances, health benefits, non-discrimination ordinances, all those would go away with the passage of this bill.
The bill passed the Senate by a narrow vote of 20-17 with bipartisan opposition and now goes to the governor's desk to be signed into law. Advocating all week on behalf of workers at the Capitol, union members from across the state shared their experiences.
I'm a big fan of watching The Twilight Zone, not a big fan of living in the Twilight Zone. There's a lot of really horrific legislation going on. We've got to get on this.
We'd like to see everybody from all walks of life come up here to the Capitol, get involved with your legislators and the people that you elect from your communities.
Make sure you're keeping your representatives and your senators working for you, not working for anybody else.
You want to hold them accountable when they come to the Capitol and get the bills passed that represent the working people.
If you don't think the decisions made in the state will affect us in the future, you got another thing coming.
This is what happens when you retire. You come up here to Tallahassee to make sure we still have our benefits.
The working families of Florida are under attack. We need to come and stick together and fight back.
Guess what? If we don't make a stand as one to make sure that working America continue to work and continue to promote our future, it's going to be gone.
This is it. We're going into the final week of the 2017 legislative session, and our work is not over.
I told you you'd be sorry.
Stay updated by signing up for alerts on our website and be ready to pick up the phone and have your voice heard in our race to the finish. Till next week, solidarity.